Hello ladies and gentlemen, Ollie here and welcome back to the channel. Today we are addressing the first and most obvious yet incredibly difficult to answer question: why do you want to be a doctor? And odd though it may seem, this question actually catches a staggering number of applicants completely off guard, who then proceed to unravel. And without preparation, instinctually I guarantee you 99% of people will say, I want to help people, which obviously then the interviewer can then turn around in an incredible number of different ways and suggests that not a lot of thought has gone into the application, which of course it probably should have done if you're thinking about giving the rest of your life over to a career in medicine. So to give a very quick example of this, you could say, I want to help people, then the interviewer can just go, then become a paramedic, become a nurse. Because they help people too, and when you think about it, an enormous number of professions help people every single day, and they're all incredibly valuable for doing so. Everyone has their own piece to put in. So what I think you need to do is convey that you have a sense of purpose and confidence, that you know that medicine specifically is the correct course for you. What is it, again, specifically about the art of practicing medicine that attracts you to the profession, and furthermore, why do you think you would be good at it? And I do realise that I'm really labouring this point, but it's well worth considering. So just for example, doctors very regularly have to combine lots of different pieces of information from many different sources, be it patient histories, blood samples, physical examinations, all these various sources. They all have to be pulled together so that the doctor can work out the correct diagnosis and determine what the best course of action is. So if you enjoy sciences, working with the human body, and you enjoy logistics and problem solving, that might be a really good idea for you. And better still, what if you could provide an example from your own studies, something you've either done at school which involved this kind of thing, or something that you've seen out in the real world? I think were I an interviewer, what would sound very convincing and well thought through to me was that if you've not only recognised the aspects of medicine that you find appealing, but you recognise a time in your own life when it's happened to you, so you actually have some experience of going through this. And in terms of responding to that idea, if the interviewer brings up, then be a paramedic, be a nurse, in order to address those, I think it's worth recognising what it is specifically that doctors do. Doctors are ultimately in control of deciding what treatment it is that a patient receives, and obviously have the most administrative power when doing so. So while in many cases it's the nurses, the care workers, the auxiliary staff that actually deliver that treatment, in deciding what form that treatment should take, that has come from a doctor. So if you feel, for example, that you want more of a say in what treatment the patient should actually receive, then you might be set up for being a doctor. But be sure to point out, if you bring this up, that that places a very large degree of responsibility on you and nobody else if anything were to go wrong. So you have to be able to bear that in mind when making your decision, particularly in more dangerous fields like neurosurgery, for example, where the risks of providing treatment at all are inherently much higher. And the consequences of your decisions as a medical professional might be very severely debilitating or very long lasting, which of course would never be your intention, but it's something you've got to be able to deal with if anything goes wrong. But equally there will be all those positive moments too. You know, imagine delivering a baby, for example, or having somebody wake up post-operation and they're going to recover just fine. It would provide those most extreme of highs and the lowest of lows, but it'll certainly be extremely dynamic. So of course, if you're a graduate entrant to medicine, like myself, you may well have worked in a clinical setting before. And this as well could equally be as valid if you did some work experience in a clinical setting when applying as a school leaver. But in either of these cases, try to reflect on the working environment that you saw. In these cases, but not always, the doctor might have been a team leader, so you could think of examples where you've led a team yourself and why you think you were good at it. As I said before, everybody in an NHS team, because it's publicly funded, has their own fundamental role. It's up to everyone to make sure they do their job correctly, and that includes organising the team and making sure it runs smoothly. You could, of course, reflect on that most sacred of bonds, the doctor-patient relationship. And while this has been restricted somewhat in recent years by lowered consultation times and increased paperwork, and if you can recognise how important it is and how lucky you would be as a medical practitioner to be able to be involved in it, I think that would go a long way in convincing an interviewer that you'd really thought it through. And finally, and I think a very nice but simple one, is the idea that you could come home at the end of every day and know that you made a difference to somebody's life. Do be a bit careful with this one and be prepared for the interviewer to follow you up on it. And of course, something else that might appeal to you in a medical career is that it can go in pretty much whatever direction you want to take it in. There are so many different specialties, there are subspecialties, things like academic medicine, you could go into internal medicine, mental health, surgery. And whatever you do, because you're going to be dealing with people day in, day out, no two cases are going to be the same, and so it offers you a very, very dynamic career with plenty of room to grow. But ultimately, the one thing I would say when you're answering this question is that you must be honest, I beseech you. Do not try to fluff up your answer by inventing false narratives that never really happened, or just regurgitating buzzwords. Give yourself plenty of time before the interview to properly reflect on this, more than any other question that you prepare for, because if you think about this one in depth, it will prepare you very well to answer a very wide range of other questions too, because it's at the core of the issue. Take a breath, look your interviewer in the eye and tell them very plainly and very simply why you want to be a doctor. This is a question entirely about self-reflection. There are no other extraneous factors at play. Just tell the truth and you'll have the smoothest experience you can imagine. So thank you very much for watching, guys. That has brought us to the end of another sample interview question to help you get successfully into medical school. If you've enjoyed it, let me know down in the comments if you'd like to challenge anything I've said, or let me know anything you can think of and I'll add it to the article online so other people can see it. Don't forget to go and check out my website postgradmedic.com for all my other free resources just like this, and be sure to check out the other videos right here on the channel, and if you'd like to see more, go ahead and click that subscribe button, it would really help me out. Take care, guys, and I will see you in some other video. And good luck with your application.